kind of talked about the consistency of Andrew, the lengths he's willing to go for these guys, and all the toughness. With Duran, we thought of the word is like he's got a real edge about him, and that focus, and we love that he brings. And then Tyler, always at the front and center of stuff, but just really, really high standards about how he goes about his stuff. And so a lot of respect for those three, and they'll lead the way Sunday. So all that said, glad to get it rocking with you guys.
Injury updates. Brian Robinson, didn't see him out there. What's his status?
Yeah, we'll take another look where he's at tomorrow to see if it's just turning for the best and see where we go, and we'll take it all the way up through the game, or up to the game, John, with B-Rob.
Is there any concern with this being something he's going to have to deal with for a while, or is this more of a short-term thing?
It feels more short, but anytime you're dealing with an injury, you want to make sure, is there any longevity to that? If we wouldn't put him out there if that was the case.
And then last one, Cleveland, and then Noah Brown, too.
Yep, so Clee was able to get some work today, so that was good. So getting work yesterday and again today, and Noah had a really good session, we thought, yesterday, and did some stuff to the side today. So both of them had good weeks.
Do you plan to bump up one of the IR guys ahead of Sunday's game?
We'll Adam and I were going to visit tonight and see if there's somebody that we think would to get into that space. So it's been good to see the guys back and into working, and so they've definitely put in the work. So yeah, we're going to visit on that tonight.
And shocking, I have a question about Jayden Daniels. Especially with this week, as there's been so much attention around this game in particular. How have you seen him approach? Has he been even more locked in than usual? And is that rare for a rookie in your experience?
In a good news way, I wouldn't say more, because the normal is remarkable. And I thought Lamar both handled it in their own unique ways about playing quarterback in their own styles and their own ways. And I tend to agree with both of them, to be honest with you. I really love the competitive nature of both of them, but I think, past that, their games are different. And I think both of those kind of brought that to light. And I think I think they were both really on it.
I don't know how often you go to the grocery store or go out to eat during the season, but in your regular...
Next time will be the first one, but I will go from there.
In your regular everyday life, have you experienced the uptick in enthusiasm that's been going on around the team?
Not yet, but I know it's happening, and it's really appreciated. I see most of that at the game, and I saw it in Arizona. Just from the road crowd was there, and I certainly felt it last week at home, and the effect the crowd had on third down and the noise that went with it. So, but one thing I can tell you is that I love that people have the energy and the juice for it, and this fan base is unique, and we can't wait to play in front of them. But hopefully we'll see a few over hour and a half away.
This might be a dumb question, but when you guys use no huddle at the rate that you do, how does that change, or does that make Jayden's job at the line of scrimmage harder? What does that do for him?
I think you want to make sure you use variations of both. So there's times you go to the line of scrimmage and you play really quickly, and then there's times you break out of a huddle and do it quickly. And then conversely, there's times you go at the line of scrimmage, you want to show like you're playing fast, and then move around, get some shifts and go. And there's times that you'll do that out of the huddle as well. And so to me, the combination of different styles of tempo make it more challenging. You want to be able to put mental pressure on the opponent, and that's what no huddle can do. But no huddle doesn't mean that you have to go really fast. It just means that you want to have the impression that you can. And then other times, yeah, you want to turn it up and go fast and get rolling. So having the combination of both helps, but you have to be really deliberate in how you do it. You can sometimes get a team out of their disguise because you're thinking you're about to get going fast, and other times you want to see that and get out. So the combination, Sam, is really, that's the key, having a balance of both, just like runs and play passes, and same thing with a tempo offense.
Hey, Coach, so interestingly enough, one of the players I wanted to ask about is a game captain this week. I wanted to know what you've seen so far out of Andrew Wiley. Yeah,
and I thought a couple things, just like his consistency about it, and behind the scenes, Candy, one of the things that we all admire about Andrew's just the willingness that he does with the guys. You should hear him as the communication with that group and the standards they have. And on the sideline, it's a lot of fun to see him and Allegretti and Tyler and Sam and the guys talking and encouraging one another. But Andrew's usually right in the middle of that. I'm not going to call him the old head of the group, but he does have a calming effect. He's been in the fights, and I think he just brings a lot of that to our team. And the toughness is one thing that stands out to me.
And you've been with Dorrance Armstrong for a bit now. So what have you seen in his game and how he's developed over time?
Yeah, I think the things that the team respect, you always know what you're going to get from Dorrance, and that's a really good thing. And like if you say his name, you know what's going to happen. And so I thought over the last few weeks, I've really seen not just him, but the defensive line's connection with stunts and movements to go. And Dorrance has been right in the middle of that. He's one of the very best communicators amongst that group. And sometimes he can see around the corners, hey, this is what needs to happen next. This is, kind of set it up a little bit. And so he's got very high standards about him, but he's very consistent. And that part alone adds value because he's going to do, where he's supposed to do it at a really high level. So, yeah, we all have a lot of regard for him.
Coach, I'm Lindsay. It's good to see you.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hey, I was wondering if you could just share maybe what has meant the most to you, the success that you guys have had so far, the way that you've done it. Is there something behind the scenes that people wouldn't necessarily know about what makes you the most proud?
I would say the team is connecting quick, and they've put aside what normal feeling out processes or agendas about what's important to them, and it's been about their group. And that's been my favorite part of our team right now is the team, and to see, the way they support one another on the field, on the sideline. And so the examples of that, there was a turnover, the defense had a stop, there was a stop at the end of a half to get the ball back to the offense to score. So I'd say that isn't easy, with 70 people and coaches to get, relationships and connections together. And so you have to be deliberate about it. So I'd say knowing that more established teams, maybe 3 or 4 years together, you have that. This team is really capturing how to do that and fast tracking those relationships. We're not where we're going to be as an inclusive group, but they have bonded, they have connected, and they really want to play hard for one another. And I'll say that's probably the thing that makes me proud. We're starting to realize this is our way, the speed, the effort, the finishing, and we just need to continue more. And the more they play together, the more they'll do that.
Is it quicker than in your past experience with other teams?
Yes, it is. It's a lot of people together for the first time. I think the rookie class also, Nikki, came in as a very mature group. And so sometimes it's the old guys teaching the new guys, this is how we do it. But they were kind of ready to be involved right away. They didn't have the normal feel it out process. And you may have heard me say earlier, these were our little brothers, not our pledges. And so they were going to be part of this right from the beginning. And so guys like Jayden and Sainmerstill and Coleman and McCaffrey and I'm sure Johnny Newton, others, they've got a real, serious, mature approach about them. And the other players, they looked, is that going to be again tomorrow? And looked, and then pretty soon they could count on these young guys to say, hey, these guys, they can help us win. And that's, to me, I think that helped because there wasn't like this separation between young guys and old guys. It just became a team connected quickly. I love the fact that it's not just an offense or defense, but all hands on deck. You see receivers on teams and safeties and corners. And so like this blend of people, like special teams kind of intersects all of it. And I love that they're all involved from kick returns to blocking punts to DA in to, whatever it is, all hands on deck. I think that contributes to it, knowing that like they're all part of one another's success and the preparation that goes into it. And when they have a victory, they're all, responsible for the wins. And so to me, that's probably why it's happened quicker.
Dan, curious, obviously for each game, you're going to prepare defensively a game plan against the opponent based on whatever it is that they do, but you also have to figure out who you are. You have to have your identity and
Correct.
Stay within that, whereas like say in the playoffs, it's the one game you can throw at everything at that plan. What is that line, though, between this opponent does these things, we have to make certain changes, but I can't go completely off the grid.
It's more similar than you think, Ben, even from the playoffs. And you don't want to go into the playoffs, changing everything either. So you have to have the ability to adjust, for what's needed. But you don't put in a whole new defense or a whole new offense. You do have to have the things that you do well. Part of training camp isn't just getting ready for the opening game of the season. It's getting ready for teams that play unique styles and options and third downs and different personnel packages and goal lines. So you don't use a lot of the packages in every game, but knowing that you've gone through some of that, Ben, when you get to teams that have uniqueness, you have to lean back onto that. But at the end, you still have your own way and your own style, because we do want the opponent to have to deal with us at our strengths too, so you don't want to lose that. So it's a good question, but it's not as far different as you might think in the playoffs as it is in the regular season. You do what you do, and you have to do it really well in the playoffs. But it's not entirely different, but you do have to play your game really well.
And then it's to that end, and this is probably veering a little too close to game plan for this game, but obviously with Derrick Henry, you guys typically are in some sort of a nickel. Derrick Henry is a guy typically I would imagine teams would not want to have a nickel. So how do you kind of view this is what we do, but wow, this is a really unique running back and a unique player?
Yeah, I think you were right, too close to the game plan. So he's unique, and they've got a number of unique guys. And so how do you match up? How do you find ways? And there's tackling plans, and how do you try to create takeaways? And so all of it, kind of factors in. It's kind of the fun part of it, been honest, like old Etch-a-Sketch when we were kids, and then you got to shake it up, and you start it again the next week about the new plan, the new people, how do you attack it, where do you go? And so each week brings unique challenges. It's one of the fun parts of coaching in the NFL, that this player is different than this. They've got this. He's got runner. However it goes, that's how you got to get down for that week. And so you just kind of lock it in on this week, and then Monday comes and you re-scramble your brain and you go for it again.
Hey, Coach, I just have one for you, and it piggybacks off what Sam said. I understand that you can't go to the grocery store or go out to eat to understand the excitement around this team, but I just wonder, are you able to, in a historical kind of big picture perspective, recognize like what the success of this franchise and the excitement around this franchise means to the community as a whole?
Yeah, it's such a big deal because we know what the organization is, and it's probably an awesome question for next week when we have somebody that's going to be honored that's a true legend of what this team has been about. So let's put a pause onto that one, and we'll come back to that one on next Friday.
Hey, Ben, actually, with that, just pulling on that thread, a couple of weeks ago when we were in Arizona, Mike still shared with us that we got some advice from Jeremiah. So how is that having Washington legends that are already pouring into the current players and yourselves as well?
Yeah, I think it's really important, from me for, having a relationship with Coach Gibbs, or like having the support of Doug Williams is pretty strong. And you feel that support from him all the time. And so through Doug, got a chance to meet Gary Clark and been around Don Warren and Charles Mann and Dexter Manley. And so this past spring, to be able to spend some time with them, that's really important. To know where you want to go, you also have to have an idea of where you've been. And that's an identity that they had here, for a long time. And so, that's what our team right now is trying to establish. We're nowhere near the identity that we want to establish. We're like very fresh into this. And that's why I kind of put off some of the stuff, but I want to know that the players digging in and pushing for it really hard, it'll be this group's version of that. And I love how hard they're going for it.
And Coach, can you pull on that thread a little more? As a coach, is the focus like shutting out all the noise about all the excitement and focus on?
It's not as we really dig into ourselves. And I know it sounds like such an unusual thing, but like that's what we're constantly, like the obsession is about getting better. And so we like absolutely try to work our ass off at the things that went well, the things that need work on. And so that was part of my meeting today. This is what I saw yesterday. This is what I want to see us capture today, to go for it. So we really don't let ourselves get too far over our skis, because we are absolutely digging in on how we get better. And I do love that attribute about our team, because as we're going through it, we're in our meetings together, we're doing our stuff together. So it's not a block out. I want people to enjoy the experience of playing here, but the way that we go about it is how good can we get, and really the competition is how far can we push it. And if you just pleased with yourself, that's probably where you'll stay. And you have to dig in and push it and find ways to improve, and we really set our mind on doing that on a regular basis.